Good Tuesday afternoon to you. For Telesur, I'm Reagan Devines in Caracas, Venezuela. Thank you so much for joining us on From the South. The second day of the 70th anniversary of the UN General Assembly is underway in New York right now. The president of Guyana, David Granger, has already spoken, and Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, is due to speak in a few hours from now. This just 2 days after the two met with Ban Ki-moon over Venezuela's claim to the Essequibo region. Monday's opening session saw a strong focus on the situation in Syria. Russian President Vladimir Putin ratified his support for the government of Bashar al-Assad, whom Barack Obama described as a tyrant, urging a transitional government in the country. Both leaders met afterwards to discuss the crisis in Syria and Ukraine. In a combative speech, the president of Argentina, Cristina Fernandez, questioned what and who really lies behind extremist groups like the Islamic State.
It would be good to ask who is financing all of this. That would certainly help the world to find the best ways to fight one of the worst problems facing humanity, which fundamentalism of any kind. Religious dogmatism, and especially those who think of their neighbors as enemies, to be eliminated. But I don't want to leave this assembly only with problems of debt, the economy, terrorist attacks, and international complicity. I want to leave you also with a tribute to the continent that I feel myself a child of, Latin America.
Raul Castro and Barack Obama also met on the margins of the General Assembly on Monday. The presidents of Cuba and the United States did not give any statement to the media, but it's assumed that they discussed the renewed relationship between their two countries. During their speeches at the Assembly, both leaders spoke of the need to lift the blockade imposed by the U.S. on the island. Castro also demanded that the U.S. abandon Cuba's occupied territory at Guantanamo Bay.
The
presidents agreed in the need of helping working on the established bilateral agenda, which includes areas of mutual benefit and of cooperation, both bilateral in third countries like Haiti. The dialogue over issues of bilateral and multilateral interest, and the solution for all pending problems between the two states.
Multilateral y la solución de problemas pendientes entre ambos estados.
Venezuela will allow the return and regularization of the Colombians repatriated during the border crisis. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro met with UNASUR Secretary General Ernesto Samper on the sidelines of the UN Secretary General on Monday. They agreed that the government of Venezuela would assist, quote, the Colombian citizens deported during the border crisis between the two countries wishing to regularize their situation in Venezuela and return to that country, end quote. According to the UN, some 22,000 Colombians returned to their country out of fear of being deported. Venezuela is home to more than 5.6 million nationals of that country. Colombia's new justice accord with FARC rebels does not imply impunity. The government leader in the talks, Humberto de la Calle, explained that this agreement meets national and international requirements. The rebels and the government agreed last week to create special courts to try former guerrillas and former military members accused of crimes committed during the 5-decade-long conflict. They also agreed to set March 2016 as a deadline for a final agreement.
It's not an impunity agreement. It meets with the national and international requirements, the standards. These standards are to investigate, prosecute and punish, and that's what's going to happen.
Ecuador's National Assembly pays homage this Tuesday to the 5 Cuban counter-terrorists known as the Cuban Five, as well as a Cuban military official who was incarcerated in Somalia for 11 years. The parliament will award the Cuban Five, as well as Colonel Oscar Cardoso, who will later attend a floral offering at the José Martí Monument in Quito. Their schedule also includes a public discussion at the International Center for Advanced Studies in Communications for Latin America. On Monday, they met with solidarity groups with Cuba. They will finish their visit to the country on Sunday, when they will be traveling to Bolivia. 5 years ago this Wednesday, a coup attempt was carried out against President Rafael Correa. Now, new details have emerged about that coup. About that dark day in the country's history, our correspondent in Quito, Liz Scherfius, has that story.
This street, in front of the National Police Hospital of Quito, was the site of a police rebellion 5 years ago. President Rafael Correa was held inside the building, and the Attorney General Office of Ecuador has classified the events of September 30th, 2010 to be a failed coup attempt. Mateo Bolaños' brother, Juan Pablo Bolaños, was a student, caught in the crossfire and killed by a police officer.
I saw how the police officer, Froilan Jimenez, was killed, and I felt something in my heart that something happened to my family there. I tried to call my brother, and he did not answer, and then I got a phone call from the hospital, the clinic, saying that Juan Pablo was there. We went to see him, and this was the first time I had lost somebody close to me and my family. He was more than a brother for me. He was a constant companion, and we were always together.
Attorney General of Ecuador, Galo Chiriboga, has said that there have been 179 people found guilty of the crimes committed on September 30th and 72 innocent. While the perpetrator of Juan Pablo Bolaños' death has been sentenced, the deaths of 2 police officers, Froilan Jimenez and Edwin Calderon, as well as 2 members of the armed forces, Jacinto Cortez and Darwin Panchi, are still under investigation. The possible declassification of related documents is expected to expedite this process.
If this declassification lets us identify those who were there, weapons they had, and if their arms were fired, or if not, with what projectiles we found, we have a high probability of discovering who shot those weapons.
The Attorney General Office of Ecuador maintains that there were threats on the life of President Correa the day of the coup attempt. 5 years have passed and 251 people have been tried for their involvement. Authorities have said that impunity will not be tolerated and investigations will continue. Liz Scherfius, Telesur, Ecuador.
And we've got a developing story now in Peru. Police have shot demonstrators protesting a mine project in Cotabambas, killing 3 of them. We have on the phone right now our correspondent there, Rael Mora, for more details. Hi, Rael, can you tell us exactly what happened there?
Yes, yesterday's violence started after the police tear gassed some protesters who were close to the project's premises. Police thought protesters were preparing to invade the area, but demonstrators were still debating what actions to take. They had been demanding dialogue with the government, and the Peruvian governor had communicated the concerns of the population to the Ministry of Energy and Mining without result. The tear gas encouraged the protesters to confront the police and invade the premises, and violence escalated to the point of usage of lethal weapons by the police. 3 civilians passed away, another is in a critical state, 3 police officers injured, and at least 22 people were arrested.
Rael, can you tell me why are they protesting, and does this have anything? Is there any connection with the protests that have also happened in connection with the Tia Maria mining project?
Conflicts in the area have been taking place since 2004, but the current protest responds to the changes made in the $10 billion project without consulting with the population, and after it was sold to a Chinese transnational in 2014. The changes include eliminating a pipe transportation system for the copper produced that would prevent contamination of the area and installing plants near local river. There's no direct connection with the Maria protest in Arequipa, but the issues and the problematic is the same in both cases, as well as another protest taking place today against a mining in the region of Pasco, where contamination has left more than 2,000 children with disabilities.
Rael, has the government at all responded as yet to what has happened?
In all of these cases, protesters are claiming the government has taken the side of transnationals and are not listening to common citizens. Indeed, the government has never publicly stated that they will reconsider the project. In Apurímac, Ollantaytamala has called this morning a state of emergency and is sending the armed forces.
Rael, thank you so much. It's great to have you there in Peru. We'll touch base with you for another update sometime soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And moving on, also in Peru, another volcano has begun to erupt. The eruption of the Urbinas volcano in the southwest took place at 1:45 p.m. on Monday and lasted for 30 seconds. It was classified as strong and sent an ash cloud 4 kilometers into the air. After being dormant for several years, the volcano has become increasingly active since September 2013 and had another smaller eruption on Sunday. Authorities have issued an ash alert for surrounding towns and communities. Bolivian pro-choice activists have called on the government to decriminalize abortion. September 28th was designated a global day of action to highlight the issue. Every day, 185 illegal abortions take place in Bolivia, as our correspondent Dimitri O'Donnell reveals from La Paz.
En Bolivia, el 23% de los niños y niñas...
Taking a stand for the rights of Bolivian women. A small but determined group of activists took to the streets of La Paz as part of the September 28th campaign, a global day of action to decriminalize abortion around the world.
We are asking for abortion to be taken off the penal code. This is more than policy, it's about public health. For women seeking an abortion, they need to have access to health insurance and other free services.
It's estimated that 185 illegal abortions take place in Bolivia every day, the second highest rate in Latin America, with Haiti taking the top spot.
Those women are probably poor women, indigenous women, peasant women, who cannot pay a safe abortion in some other clinics.
The activists want the government to decriminalize abortion, but that's no easy task in a country with a strong Catholic tradition where a majority are against terminations. Bolivian law allows women an abortion only if the fetus poses a risk to the life of the mother or they have been raped.
Definitely. The most serious circumstances for women is sexual abuse. We've seen an increase of sexual abuse, and the consequences of this is, of course, becoming pregnant.
7 out of every 10 women here have suffered sexual abuse at least once in their lives. If they fall pregnant and go to an illegal clinic, the risks are huge. Maternal deaths because of illegal abortions is the 3rd highest cause of death for Bolivian women. This group estimates that between 50 and 60,000 illegal abortions are carried out in unsafe, so-called backstreet clinics every year in Bolivia. And every day 2 women die here because of an illegal abortion. They say it's now time the government acts decisively to stop more women dying. Dimitri O'Donnell, Telesur, La Paz.
And coming up on From the South, a FIFA official has been banned for life. We'll find out who, we'll tell you who, next.
A world infinitely connected, millions of people instantaneously interacting, experiences relayed in 144 characters, millions of lives in every corner of the planet. They're not tweets, they're stories. Watch it on telesurtv.net/English. Telesur, wherever the news, you'll be there.
The US in crisis. What's it like for the people on the ground? The real USA. Only on telesurtv.net in English. Wherever the news, you'll be there. From London, an interpretation of current world politics as presented by the activist, writer and historian Tariq Ali.
The emergence of the United States as a global empire.
The world today. Only on telesurtv.net in English. Wherever the news, you'll be there.
Welcome back. Catalonian President Artur Mas has been summoned to appear in court on October 15th to defend himself on accusations of civil disobedience for conducting a non-binding referendum on Catalan sovereignty in November last year. Mas, along with 2 other members of his government, have also been accused of usurping authority and of the misuse of public funds in the controversial vote. If found guilty, Mas could be barred from public office for up to 10 years.
If it's to mess with members of the government or myself, even presenting legal complaints, etc., then go ahead and do it. I am calm in the sense that we are defending democracy, we are defending freedom, we are defending fundamental rights, which under minimum normal circumstances should not be denied to anyone.
Germany is holding true to its promise to not allow asylum for anyone not escaping the effects of war or persecution. New legislation brought forward by the German cabinet will expedite the repatriation of anyone seeking economic asylum from the EU powerhouse nation. The bill seeks to create greater focus on refugees actually in need of immediate assistance. Included in the measures, which still have to be passed in both the upper and lower houses in Parliament, would be the construction of new shelters as well as a budget of over $600 per refugee allocated to communities. 131 people have been killed in Yemen, including women and children, at a wedding reception. And according to witness claims, the perpetrators were the Saudi-led coalition. A Saudi spokesperson has denied the accusation, suggesting that the attack was committed by local militia. Reports are that the reception belonged to a man affiliated with the Houthi rebels. The attack has garnered the attention and condemnation of the international community, including UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, who said that this violates international law and must be investigated.
This crime, this unspeakable cruelty, I say to Salman, what are the goals of this strategy of striking a wedding tent with women and children? What are the goals of striking women and children? The casualties have now risen to 131, and now all the people will follow Ansarullah.
To the West Bank now, where clashes broke out again in several locations following the tense confrontations between Palestinians and Israeli police at the Al-Aqsa compound. For weeks, there have been standoffs there after Israeli forces accused Palestinians of throwing stones at Israeli soldiers. The Zionist state has imposed a minimum 4-year jail term to Palestinians caught throwing stones. Palestinians say the new law further allows discrimination and abuse against them. Under 50 Muslims have been banned from entering the area during the Eid festivity. The upcoming visuals are alarming, yet they are indicative of what many are referring to as a wave of violence in the Central African Republic. In what seems to be religious disputes, 36 people have been killed since Saturday. Reports are that the violence was initiated when a motorcycle taxi driver was murdered in the Central Bank Keys Muslim-majority PK5 neighborhood. It's a location known for tense disputes between Christian and Muslim residents. Close to 30,000 people have also been displaced because of the violence over the past few days. The adjudicatory chamber of the Ethics Committee, chaired by Hans-Joachim Eckbert, has decided to ban former FIFA president Jack Warner from taking part in any kind of football-related activity at national and international level for life. That's what a FIFA relief stated about Warner, who the body says was found to have, quote, committed many and various acts of misconduct continuously and repeatedly during his time as an official in different high-ranking and influential positions at FIFA and CONCACAF, end quote. And finally this afternoon, the world-famous School for the Performing Arts in New York, Juilliard, hosted a visit by the First Lady of China, Peng Lijian. This as the institution announced that it will open a campus in China. Li Zhang, who is already a renowned soprano with a master's degree in traditional ethnic music, was given a tour of the New York facility and was treated to student performances. Li Zhang announced that the new campus in China will offer a US-accredited master's degree.
What we are doing right now is, with our project in China, having a base of operations in a country in East Asia, a very important country. But we're also doing projects having to do with primary and secondary education in the performing arts and providing a curricula for those activities. We're doing apps, we're doing distance learning, we're even doing distance lessons so that we can have an opportunity to really embrace the entire globe and all of the individuals who are interested in the Juilliard experience.
For more on these and other stories, please visit our website, telesurtv.net/English. For Telesur English, I'm Regan Devines. We hope you can join us this evening for our major newscast. Until then, have a great afternoon.